You know, sometimes I think to myself, how stupid do Democrats and white liberals think that black people are? Now, before I even get into this video, I got something I got to drop on y'all. So, I don't know about y'all, but I'm sick and tired of the YouTube censorship and people complaining that they don't get notifications and things of that nature. So, I got a solution, y'all, but I need y'all to help out. All right, I ain't gonna be harassing y'all doing all that crazy stuff, but I went ahead and paid for a service that might solve some of those problems. All you have to do is text JOIN to 1-877-931-2396. That is the number. You got to put the one in, 1-877-931-2396, and then type in JOIN. And when you do that, it'll confirm that you are now part of Kevin's Corner. And whenever I drop a video or a live stream, all I gotta do is send out the text and y'all will get it. You won't have no more excuses for Kev, I missed the show or I missed the video. I didn't even know you were still doing videos. Do that for me right now. Let me know you did it in the comments below. Thank you so much. Let's keep the party going.
Welcome to my party. We're just getting started.
US dollar has lost 75% of its value since the 70s when the dollar decoupled from gold, and the government seemed bent on continuing the tradition. From now until after the next election, the government can print as much money as they want. And the last time they did that, inflation went up 9%. Gold is the one asset that have proven to withstand inflation. Now, there's always a risk of investments and there's no guarantee of any kind. However, if you invest with Noble Gold, you'll also get a 24 karat, 1/4 ounce gold standard coin for free. Go to noblegoldinvestments.com right now. And even though there's always a risk of investments and there's no guarantee, if I had to bet, I would bet on Noble Gold. So once again, go to noblegoldinvestments.com, the only gold investment company that I trust. Now, let's get to this video. What's going on, America? Kevin from Kevin's Corner, where I try to make some sense out of nonsense. And apparently, there's a problem down in Florida, according to the Democrats and Kamala Chameleon Harris, concerning racism and slavery and all that stuff. The stuff that we hear from them all the time, you know, it's a part of their business model where they have to mention some type of racism, some type of discrimination and things like that. Like we ain't made no progress. And so they're now arguing this narrative about the curriculum down there. And apparently it's not teaching about slavery. And it's pretty much saying that slavery benefited black people. It's a good thing. It was a good thing that slavery took place. That's what they're suggesting. So I want to listen to these race baiters for just a little bit, including Chameleon Kamala Harris, okay? Because I think that race baiting is the most disgusting form of politics that you can have, because it divides people, it makes people suspicious of each other, it makes people hate each other, it simply destroys the fabric of the unity of our country. So if you're going to bring up topics of race or racism, it better be applicable. So let's go ahead and take a listen to Chameleon Kamala, y'all, because she's about to take us back to the motherland and tell us all about slavery and racism and stuff.
Just yesterday in the state of Florida, they decided middle school students will be taught that enslaved people benefited from slavery.
Right off grip, you have to question some things. See, whenever something comes out that seems so over the top, so magnanimous, that if you put it in common sense terms, it doesn't make sense. So what she is trying to tell us is that the curriculum in Florida, without no context, without no additional information, without quoting a particular part or, you know, all of that stuff. See, they want to just say these grandiose things and want you to take it for face value. So what that means is Ron DeSantos is sitting up there in Florida in his office and he said, you know what? I think that slavery benefited black people. It's probably good for them to have gone through slavery. So this is what we're going to do. We're now going to start teaching that it was a good thing. It was a good thing to go through slavery. It benefited black people. So stop whining. That's what she wants us to think. So, you know, it's not that. It has to be something else to it. And they're trying to use this to race bait and to attack Ron DeSantis and discredit him. And of course, they're using the most dangerous topic that you can use in society. And they're preying upon black people and the history of slavery to do it. Now, if I'm a black person, which I am, I would be offended. I mean, because it appears that you're trying to manipulate my emotions. You're trying to garnish my vote and my support based on using the past and then using this whole curriculum out of context. They're using black people. And I would hope that black people would see through this. I would hope that black people aren't so quick and emotional to respond to all of these grandiose accusations, demonizations and stuff, to where they just say, wow, that man, they tripping down there. I knew it, man, down in Florida. Like, we ain't made no progress. So go ahead, let's finish hearing this race baiter finish what she's saying.
They insult us in an attempt to gaslight us, and we will not stand for it.
Now, here's what this woman just said. They insult us in an attempt to gaslight. What she's doing right now is trying to gaslight you. If you are a white liberal, if you are a black person that is manipulated on the chessboard based off of topics of racism and all of that stuff, and you're not aware of the current climate, you got a problem. If you're not able to see that, wait a minute, she's trying to make it seem like this man in Florida just said, you know what, we're going to go ahead and change history and make it seem as if racism was a good thing for black people. It benefited them. Now, what she's doing is trying to gaslight you. She's trying to make you think that that's what happened exactly like she's describing. She wants you to get all mad and emotional, and respond to this rhetoric, this narrative, and just start hating on Ron DeSantos. She's basically calling him a racist, and he's trying to whitewash history. Now, what she's not telling you is that the whole Democrat Party was responsible for all that slavery, all that Jim Crow, all that racism, and they never talk about that. So if you want to talk about gaslighting people, it sounds as if this woman is trying to gaslight everybody else. This is the same woman who accused Joe Biden of, segregation and all of that stuff and trying to separate the kids and stuff, and then became his vice president. So why am I listening to you now crying wolf?
Adults know what slavery really involved. It involved torture. It involved taking a baby from their mother.
Says the woman in the party who's okay with 9-month abortions. Come on. Don't try to lecture us about taking the babies from their mother and all of that mess. Dang on it. She's trying to take us back to the motherland, and she don't know nothing about the motherland. Word on the street, she's from Jamaica or something like that. Hey, this your moment to shine, chameleon. Get out there and do what you do best. Become a chameleon. Try to act like you're concerned about all the slavery and this curriculum and stuff like that. Don't worry about that border just blew out, though, that y'all were saying Trump was ripping those babies from their mothers. Don't worry about that stuff, okay? Worry about slavery involving ripping kids from their mother, but don't worry about all the black babies in America being aborted, okay? Don't worry about that stuff. So let's get back to her trying to lecture us about babies and slavery.
So in the context of that, how is it that anyone could suggest that in the midst of these atrocities, that there was any benefit to being subjected to this level of dehumanization? In the midst of these atrocities, that there was some benefit.
Pull back a little bit. A little too hard on the emotions and the fake gestures and the atrocities. Any other time, she can't even put together a sentence. But she's like, what, I get to do some race baiting? I'm on it. I'm all over it. So now she's talking about the atrocities and all of that stuff. And how could somebody suggest there's a benefit? So now that means there's no other part of that curriculum in Florida that teaches anything else about slavery. What she's trying to suggest is now that the whole curriculum has been completely diverted towards teaching kids that slavery is a good thing for blacks and black people benefited off of it. She is not going to talk to you about all the surrounding parts of that curriculum that would fill in the blanks of her gaslighting, that would expose her gaslighting and manipulation. She don't want to talk about that. She just wants you to walk away thinking now that the whole curriculum in Florida is teaching these kids that slavery was a good thing. Now, do you think it happened just like that? Do you think that's exactly what happened? Or could she be using this topic, number one, to try to discredit Ron DeSantos? Number two, trying to manipulate you if you're black or you're a white bleeding heart liberal. And number three, get your vote or support based on a superficial topic, an issue that's not even a real issue, that this woman in real life knows is not a real issue. She knows she's hiding the rest of the information, but she's willing to use this divisive issue and this lie to try to garnish support and votes from people who are too emotional to go ahead and say, now, that doesn't sound right. I'm sure there's more to the story, but she don't want you to look up the rest of the story, okay? She wants you to think that that's all it's about. Now, let's just say that's a part of it. Do you think the context of that curriculum as a former teacher is to simply come out and tell those kids, you know what? Black kids, black people back in slavery, it was a good thing for them to go through it because, you know, I mean, there was benefits that came out of it. They, you know, they learned stuff. They learned how to be obedient to their masters. They learned how to take a butt whooping. They learned how to take a butt whooping. They learned how to go ahead and make chitlins and things like that. Do you think that's what's in the curriculum? You think that's the nature of what she's talking about in that curriculum? You think that's what they're trying to do? Or could it be showing the wide range of slavery and all kind of elements? And then, of course, as time went on and the slaves were emancipated, I'm sure they took some of the skills that they learned, even though it was forced upon them, and used it to benefit themselves. For example, my great-great-grandfather, he owned land, but his parents were slaves. You know, my great-grandmother, they owned land. Their parents were slaves. There was some horrific things that happened to them. But guess what? When they got their own land, guess what they knew how to do? Till their own land. They knew how to raise their own cattle. They knew how to build their own huts. They knew all the stuff that unfortunately slave owners were forcing them to do for them. But once they was emancipated, they used that same stuff for surviving on their own. So even though it might have been a horrific event and situation that helped them develop that skill, they were able to take that skill and make the best of it. They learned how to cook. They learned how to make well with the resources that they had because massa wasn't giving out a whole bunch of resources to the slaves, okay? So they learned how to take an animal, skin that bad boy, cook it up and stuff like that. Now you don't see that nowadays. That was handed down and passed down from the former slaves to their children, which was my grandparents. And that's why my grandmother knew how to go out and, you know, skin a chicken, pluck the fur, wring its neck, boil it up, cut it up. My grandfather and all of them, they knew how to hunt, skin it, all of that mess. That was passed down. But do you think that it was passed down out of nowhere? These folks learned how to do that, unfortunately, on plantations. And when they were emancipated, they took that same skill set and passed it down to their kids. So yes, you can hate on how it all came to pass, but you can't deny that some of those things that they learned eventually helped them once they were free. That doesn't make slavery right. So if you look at it in the context in which the curriculum is trying to make people well-rounded in understanding slavery, okay, then you would understand. But they don't want you to do that. They want you to think that it is as simple as face value. Ron DeSantis back there talking about that's right, so shut your mouths. Slavery was a good thing. Now, this is just part one of me exposing this race baiting because I'm not done with this, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and have to make part two because now we gotta see what the media is doing. The media is jumping right in trying to do a little race baiting too, and we can't have that. We gotta expose it all. Stay tuned for part two. God bless. Hit that like button, share my videos. Please make sure you subscribe. Make sure your notification buttons are turned on to all. Subscribe to my alternative channel just in case YouTube give me the slip or something. You'll know how to find me. Don't forget to check me out with all the podcasts and follow me on Rumble in the Jungle. All the links are listed below. If you want to donate to my channel, feel free. Those links are below as well.